What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father. Amazon Kindle Create Space. This is about to get serious. As if a lot of my videos aren't serious. Like, yeah, okay. Um, Runaways and Kidnappings. Recently there have been things showing that, for one, there are a lot of missing children, especially black children. And when black children go missing, nobody cares. And, when white children go missing, there's an Amber Alert in 22 seconds. So this is going to touch on a lot of different things, and some of this might be hard for some of y'all to swallow. We're going to have to talk about things in our community and outside of our community. Runaways. We're going to have to talk about, and let's excuse the kids who get in trouble from time to time, or rarely get in trouble, who's scared about they're going to get a weapon or something, and they try to run away for the night. I know some of those kids, those stories end bad, but those are not the primary runaways. Those are kids who just did childish mentally and did some irrational stuff, and caused their parents to worry like crazy. And I don't do that. Don't do that. If you're a kid, don't do that. Don't. But I want to talk about the kids who run away, who are just tired of their environment, tired of the abuse and dysfunction that we don't talk about. There are kids who for some odd reason think they have a better chance of surviving in the world than they do with their family. And we're talking about kids who maybe a parent died. Maybe they're in a single parent household and they're getting beaten, or in some cases molested or raped by people's significant other that's not their parent. That's what happens most times. I'm not going to say that it happens. It doesn't happen with a parent, but most times it happens with somebody who's playing stepmama or stepdaddy who's trying to go ham. And it's, and hurt somebody. And the families who cover up all of this type of abuse create this dysfunctional atmosphere where these kids feel like they're better off to run away. See, people don't want to talk about homelessness a lot of times, but the bulk of homeless people are children. So you got to actually, and not to mention these children of drug addicts, who don't have it together. Not just some, because some people, how can I say this? There are people who fell on hard times who wind up homeless as a unit, as a family. They'll usually stick together because they got homeless together. They're gonna get out of being homeless together, But I'm talking about people who just got a raw deal, and sometimes we got to bring it to the children that were taught bad habits and bad manners and bad ethics and morals by their parents or parent, and when they start acting that out, maybe as a adolescent or teenager, that same parent who taught them negativity wants to throw them out on the street because they're not going to take that in their house. They taught them to treat everybody in the world, and usually it's the father and the father's family who usually takes the brunt of it at first, because that's who you teach the negativity towards. But you teach that so profusely that it comes back to bite you on that. The chickens come home to roost, and then what ends up happening is you can't take the same disrespect that you taught your kid to give out to the world. So then you throw the kid out on the streets. We got the kids who that's kids are, like I said, molested, who are over sexualized, who now they have problems, and all of a sudden they're a problem child, when in actuality you've messed that kid up and you won't take responsibility for it, so you throw it off on the world. So the easiest way to get rid of that is when the kids run away, and they have no help. They have no support system, and that sucks. And that's part of the reason for so many runaways because you know, and sometimes with that, they're the kids who they don't tell them where their father's at or their other family, and or they're so far gone they try to send them to their other family, and their other family winds up either trying to work with them, but they go through hell with them to get them right, and sometimes it works, sometimes they send them back, and when they send them back, all hell breaks loose and they run away, and some of these kids come up missing like that, you know kidnappings, and this is why I'm getting into kidnappings because this is part of the sex trade and the drug trade and crime and all that other stuff, right? That's what winds up happening with these runaways and kidnappings. Especially people in our community, we don't address that. Well, us as black people in our community, we don't have a history of kidnapping kids, and it's usually outside of our community. You know, when we were when we were growing up, we were taught somebody was going to offer you candy. That was usually a non-black person. Somebody was going to try to yank you up. That was usually a non-black person. Somebody was going to put razor blades in your candy for Halloween. Usually a non-black person. Somebody sticks needles and razor blades at the playground and hopes you cut yourself or get diseases. Usually a non-black person. You know, but at the same time, we teach our children to have this reverence for non-black people, especially white people, to the point that their guards are down when they see these people in the neighborhoods, because these people come in our neighborhoods in and out with no problems, whether they be police officers, off-duty police officers, or just normal citizens who are racist and devilish, and have evil intentions. So they come in and out, and they snatch up kids, and usually the kids, these runaway kids, and people don't talk about that, because people don't associate the rape culture, the pedophilia, and the unsolved mysteries with normally non-black people like white people. Who rapes the most? Usually white men, then like Hispanics, then like Asians and Arabs and stuff like that. When it comes to kids, it's pretty much that same order. You know what I mean? Now it's not exact, but but for the most part, that's what goes on, because a lot of times when people say black dudes get caught for rape, that's true, but our numbers are kind of inflated with all of the false and fake allegations that people actually are convicted and go to jail for. See, that's why I said people get away with crimes, because the crimes that other people get away with aren't necessarily counted. You know, and that's the problem with the kidnappings, because you know it's an issue. You know, you don't see black men flying to other countries and to have sex with underage underage boys and girls. That's usually something that white people do. Then and they talk about Hispanic culture, that quinceañera and younger type culture, in this country and out of this country. I mean, and the same thing with Asians and Arabs or Middle Easterners. They do the same type of shit, but that's overlooked. But it comes into play because the prevalence of this happening is ridiculous. How many cops have gotten caught raping women? How many cops on the job? So if you don't think about that, you forget about the cops that get caught that do this off the job. How many plain clothes officers you see. And this is what I'm talking about with reverencing white people or positions of authority, where people just get away with stuff. As you see with the numerous videos of non-black, non-white people just going ham against black people, black women in general, and sometimes black children. We're going too far. Everything is cool. That's from the George Zimmerman thing to the Jordan Davis to Rekia Boyd to the young lady that got flipped over in the desk, the girl in McKinney, Texas at the pool party. All of this works cohesively, and this is how kids wind up missing. Because plus the Amber Alerts, we don't get Amber Alerts. They gotta wait. We wait 48 hours and stuff. Everybody else, kids go missing, they jump on it immediately. So And then we don't even talk about people getting caught organ trafficking, and whose organs are used the most? Black people's organs. And who probably has the best organs? Young kids, teenagers. You know, and who gets caught organ trafficking a lot? White folks. So I mean, it's not difficult to put two and two together, but we just don't want to call a spade, or just put connect the dots. So sometimes violence begets violence, and runaways begets kidnappings and stuff like that. So I'm saying all that to put it out there that people have to pay close attention to this, because that's part of the family breakdown. When the family breakdown, the kids become targets, and that's why you're seeing all these soft target attacks with women, elderly people, and children. It's really women, children, and elderly people. So you got to think about this, and stop um, making these kids just look at non-black people with such reverence, because 9 times out of 10, that's who had these kids coming up missing. It is what it is. People talk about the evil black man, but we don't talk about the evil everybody else. And we gotta let our kids know that everybody ain't a saint. Real talk. I'm out.